got that gorgeous family member, baby.
I am your host, Count Cool Ride.
What do you do when the face of your favorite car show suddenly vanishes without warning? For over a decade, Danny Koker was the leather-clad heartbeat of counting cars, a man whose passion for restoring rust into rolling art captured millions. Then, just as quickly as his engines roared to life, the cameras went silent. Rumors swirled. Fans guessed. Headlines whispered. But the real story? It's deeper than drama and louder than gossip. From the streets of Las Vegas to the back alleys of rock and restoration, something changed. And it wasn't just the paint on the hood. What really happened to the Count? And where did the road lead him next? Danny's journey as a mechanic. Koker's journey to becoming a respected figure in the custom car world is rooted not in formal education, but in relentless, hands-on learning and personal grit. Raised in a family with strong ties to the automotive industry, his father and relatives worked at Ford, he was immersed in the world of cars from a young age. But unlike others who might pursue automotive engineering degrees or technical school certifications, Koker learned his craft the hard way. His early experiences came from watching, asking questions, and eventually diving into projects with whatever tools and knowledge he had on hand. His approach was raw but effective, driven by curiosity and a need to figure things out for himself. During his teenage years, that drive took shape in a more tangible form when he acquired his first car, a worn-out 1979 Camaro Z28. Instead of simply getting it roadworthy, Koker tore it down and rebuilt it piece by piece, transforming it into a Can-Am-inspired street racer. This wasn't just a repair, it was a reinvention. That hands-on experience became his real education, far more impactful than any textbook. Koker often reflects on how valuable it was to take things apart and learn through trial and error. He credits his early restoration work on this Camaro as the foundation for his future success, sparking his love not just for driving cars, but for transforming them. As he grew in expertise, Koker still treated every project as a challenge and a chance to innovate. His builds were renowned for combining raw performance with visual panache, and soon his reputation spread beyond local boundaries. When Pawn Stars viewers watched how easily he evaluated cars and knew their potential, they weren't merely observing a mechanic, they were seeing an artist at work. By the time Counting Cars aired, Koker was not only creating high-performance customs, but forging an entire brand based on creativity, authenticity, and old-school craftsmanship. His lack of formal training became a badge of honor, demonstrating what passion and persistence can achieve. Nowadays, Koker is an inspiration to future gearheads who perhaps do not have a formal education, but have the passion to create something worthwhile. His journey is a testimony to the fact that one can achieve success at the pinnacle of an industry if one has the zeal and is willing to learn through experience. Whether he's remembering the one car he couldn't save or describing how he turned a rusted-out Ranchero into a pool table, Koker faces every challenge with integrity and humility. His success has less to do with credentials and more to do with character, and that's a lesson lasting long after any manual is closed. But turning wrenches was just the beginning. What came next launched him into the spotlight. The making of the Count. Koker's rise to fame was anything but conventional, but a potent combination of charisma, mechanical skill, and a deep love for vintage vehicles fueled it. Before becoming a household name, he made a name for himself as a recurring expert on the History Channel's Pawn Stars, where he was often invited by Rick Harrison to appraise rare and classic cars. As the owner of Count's Customs in Las Vegas, Koker's genuine enthusiasm and encyclopedic knowledge of vehicles quickly resonated with audiences. These appearances earned him a growing fan base and eventually caught the attention of network executives looking to spin off a car-focused series with someone who clearly lived and breathed automotive culture. His early exposure to a national audience set the stage for a much bigger opportunity. That opportunity took shape in 2012 with the launch of Counting Cars. The series granted viewers behind-the-scenes access to Count's Customs, showcasing how Koker and his skilled team transformed neglected vehicles into rolling works of art. What made the show stand out wasn't just the high-end restorations, but the camaraderie, creative freedom, and deep respect for craftsmanship that permeated each episode. As the executive producer starting in 2014, Koker had creative control over how his shop and team were portrayed, ensuring the authenticity of their work shone through. His larger-than-life personality and leadership style helped define the show's tone, making it a staple among fans of custom cars and reality television alike. Whether 10 successful years or not, Counting Cars still ranks among the best automotive shows ever to grace the History Channel. It went beyond borders, reaching millions in more than 160 countries, firmly establishing Koker's place in the industry. The show not only spans classic American muscle cars, but also sexy imports, sentimental restorations, and big, brilliant custom jobs. And of course, if celebrity guest appearances are the thing, this great musical crossover added a layer or two of coolness, something that blended his love for cars with his passion for rock music. A technical prowess coupled with artistic flair gave this show the power to outlast itself while setting it apart from any other Car Gear series. When Counting Cars ceased its regular run in 2021, Koker had already made an impact beyond what he had created. Count's Customs still sits on a bucket list for gearheads traveling to Las Vegas. Koker also remains busy in several ventures. He is back in the garage doing some hands-on work as he continues to tour with his rock band Count 77 and continues with his wife Corey to manage their Las Vegas venue, Count's Vampede. From guest appraiser on a pawnshop reality show to an automotive icon, the journey proves that passion and authenticity can create a legacy well beyond television. Danny Koker's Automotive Empire. Danny Koker's empire wasn't built overnight. It was forged in chrome, grit, and a relentless drive to elevate custom automotive culture. What started as a modest garage tucked away in Las Vegas eventually transformed into a world-renowned destination, Count's Customs. While his television fame introduced the shop to millions, the real growth happened off-camera. Koker's vision extended beyond flashy builds and into the DNA of the shop itself, turning it into a fully integrated ecosystem of design, fabrication, and restoration. The goal wasn't just to build cars, it was to build something lasting. And he did just that. Count's Customs became not only a business, but a symbol of his deeply rooted automotive philosophy. Unlike many celebrity-driven shops that rely on outside contractors, Count's Customs prides itself on being self-contained. Every detail, from metalwork and upholstery to performance tuning and finish, is handled under one roof. This full-circle craftsmanship isn't just a matter of control, it's a matter of pride. The shop's signature style is unmistakable. Old-school muscle merged with modern flair. Artistic yet engineered for performance. Their portfolio ranges from museum-quality classics to jaw-dropping one-offs that defy convention. The result? A brand that's as respected in the industry as it is adored by fans. From the pavement of Las Vegas to collectors across continents, Count's Customs has become a creative nerve center in the custom car world. While some talents of the team were displayed on screen, the actual engine of the business rumbles deeper. Great builds rest upon the operation, which many would call an intricate machine, put to work even when the camera stops rolling. Koker has run the show with trust and freedom, allowing each team member to bring their own style to a project. It is this culture that has encouraged innovation and instilled the notion of ownership among the crew, engendering loyalty and staying power. This principle has kept the shop abuzz long past the show's conclusion. Koker did not just provide jobs, but created a culture. And that culture remains one of the cornerstones of the shop's success today. Even today, with no longer the weekly rhythm afforded by a reality series, Count's Customs is always changing. To gearheads visiting Vegas, it's still a bucket list stop, but it's actually operating as a fully functioning workshop that takes on high-end commissions and legacy projects. Koker has now re-engaged himself in day-to-day operations, not as a figurehead, but as a mentor and master builder. Overseeing an arduous build or discussing the vision for it with a client, he is more invested than ever. The empire he has grown stands not only for love of engines and exhausts, but for integrity and vision, and the belief that craftsmanship matters. In an age of quick fame and fast trends, Count's Customs is one of the few things still around that are meant to last. A collector's obsession. Koker's fascination with collecting isn't a marketing gimmick. It's an intrinsic part of who he is. Over the years, he's curated a personal fleet that rivals many museums, with more than 100 classic cars and approximately 70 motorcycles. This passion isn't rooted in luxury or status, but rather in a genuine love for the artistry, mechanics, and history of each vehicle. In interviews, including one with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he openly refers to his collection as an addiction. But unlike typical collectors who focus on brand names or resale value, Koker's collection is deeply personal, reflecting his unique tastes and emotional connections to automotive history. Some of his most cherished vehicles hold sentimental value beyond their monetary worth. Chief among them is a 1966 Shelby GT350 Mustang, gifted to him by his father, a car he credits for solidifying his commitment to automotive restoration. This vehicle isn't just a trophy. It's a reminder of family legacy and inspiration. Another standout is a 1966 AC Cobra, reportedly valued at nearly $2 million. These are just a few jewels in a garage that includes a 1973 Buick Riviera, a 1970 Dodge Coronet, a 1965 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham, and his first ever car, a 1979 Camaro Z28, which he customized into a street-legal race car. The collection is endlessly prestigious, and rarely will one find Koker with a scarce edition, albeit with an angle here and there. His holy grail is the coveted 1972 Lamborghini Miura SV, an erstwhile car known more for its elusive charm. For sure, his monetary constraints must not have weighed on him for the acquisition, but rather the very rarity of the car and Koker's penchant for originality just make it all the more challenging. Nevertheless, the urgency of his search entirely assures us of his unflagging desire for the collection. He also appreciates cars like weird customs and some odd restorations, but others, including cars that he would consider very weird. To him, collections are experienced and tell the potential history of each machine. In contrast to many collectors who secrete their works in hidden warehouses, Koker believes in the philosophy that if you own it, then it must run and be seen. His cars are often taken in and out of Count's Customs for refinishing or upgrades to ensure that they still run. Some cars attend public events, while others are used for education or reference for future builds. The cars sitting, waiting for another restoration, like his first Camaro, are still very much part of the waiting group. More than a status symbol, his fleet represents an ever-evolving canvas of who he is, both an artist and a steward of automotive heritage. Every engine turned and every piece of metal restored form part of a lifelong story written in chrome, steel, and soul. The Count 77 Band. While Koker made his name in custom cars, music has always played a powerful and parallel role in his life. Raised in a musically inclined household, he was surrounded by the sounds of classic rock and performance from a young age. His father, Danny Koker Sr., was a classically trained baritone who worked in music professionally, and his influence laid the foundation for Koker's musical interests. Singing in the family band as a child, Koker developed his vocal talent early on and carried it with him into adulthood, even as he was building his automotive empire. For him, music isn't just a hobby, it's a personal and creative outlet that's as meaningful as the roar of a custom engine. This lifelong love of music culminated in the formation of Count 77, a Las Vegas-based hard rock band that Koker fronts as the lead vocalist. The band is steeped in 1970s rock nostalgia, drawing heavily from the sounds of Thin Lizzy, Led Zeppelin, Foghat, and the Allman Brothers. Koker and his bandmates, most notably guitarists Stoney Curtis and John Zito, created a sound that is equal parts tribute and original expression. Their debut album, released in 2014 through Shrapnel Records, was a blend of bluesy riffs, gritty vocals, and raw rock energy. Koker's deep, soulful voice brought an authentic edge to the music, solidifying his credibility not only as a mechanic, but as a rock frontman. With the popularity of counting cars, Count 77 gained a platform few garage bands will ever get. The band was often featured on the show, which exposed it to millions of people, and aided in the building of a die-hard fan base that extended well past car guys. They've played large clubs and motorcycle festivals around the country, including venues in Texas, Colorado, and Mississippi, frequently performing in front of thousands. These shows share the same level of passion and energy Koker applies to his car work: loud, bold, and unapologetically real. The overlap between his two realms, music and cars, transcended into a signature element of his public persona and personal brand. Aside from live music, Koker and his wife Corey own Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill, a Las Vegas club that combines his two loves in one building. The club features frequent live rock concerts and is also a hangout for fans of custom cars as well as old-school rock. Corey handles the booking of entertainment, while Koker handles the vibe and musical integrity, making sure that each act fits into their vision. From the car-themed decor to the set lists of local bands, Count's Vamped is an extension of Koker's soul. For him, the transition between constructing machines and performing on stage is effortless. They both involve storytelling, creativity, and sharing what you love with the world. As Koker rocked the stage, another group of stars kept Count's Customs firing on all cylinders. The Counting Cars crew. While Koker may have been the face of counting cars, the show's lasting success was rooted in the chemistry and talent of the crew that surrounded him. These weren't just supporting characters, they were skilled professionals whose personalities and craftsmanship elevated the shop's reputation. Among the most essential was Kevin Mack, Koker's longtime best friend and Count's Customs general manager. Kevin brought organizational structure to the chaos of creativity. He was the guy who kept projects on schedule and budgets in check, often balancing Koker's bold vision with real-world logistics. Their dynamic was not just entertaining, but also emblematic of what made the shop and the show work. Passion, guided by practical leadership. Shannon Eichow, the quiet powerhouse of the bike division, brought a different kind of artistry to the garage. As the lead bike builder and shop foreman, Shannon's builds were known for their technical precision and aesthetic beauty. His contributions weren't limited to mechanics. He also brought a sense of family to the team, often preparing meals or hosting cookouts, nurturing a brotherhood that was palpable on screen. His dual role as builder and morale booster made him invaluable both on and off camera. Each motorcycle Shannon touched bore his signature craftsmanship and pushed the creative boundaries of what a custom bike could be. Ryan Evans, the lead painter and airbrush artist at the workshop, was another fan favorite. Shannon's introduction opened the doors to Ryan's indispensable contributions as he painted much bolder ideas than anybody else could paint. His creations turned automobiles into visual masterpieces, often outshining many of the vehicles themselves by the time of their final unveiling. Paired up with the flamboyant and inventive Horny Mike Henry, whose specialty was wild concepts along with his famous horned designs, these two became the artistic spirit of the shop. Eccentric as Mike's ideas would often be at first met with skepticism, he was ultimately a huge winner after being fully realized by the expert execution of his eccentric visions by Ryan. Their partnership epitomized how creativity thrived when different minds pushed each other. Involvement behind the cameras also included key players like Scott Jones, who managed accounting and regularly locked horns with Koker concerning budget control priorities, and the detailer Rolly Sabo, who became well known for his heavy Hungarian accent and flawless finish work. Every automobile that passed through Count's Customs had been polished by little Rolly, who cared deeply about the finishes. His sudden disappearance from the show did raise many questions, but every finished build still carried on with the Rolly legacy in its shine. Thus, this team was more than a cast. They had a vital place in the spirit and functioning of Count's Customs. The success of the shop and every success story has always had turn about one person. But then again, the success and those stories have been cast against different talents to work in unison. The lawsuits that rocked Count's Customs. Despite its success and popularity, Count's Customs has not been immune to controversy. One of the earliest public legal disputes occurred in 2014, when a couple filed a lawsuit against the shop, claiming that their 1967 Ford Mustang was neither restored nor returned as promised. According to court filings, the couple had given the vehicle to Count's Customs in hopes of a transformation worthy of the show's standards. Instead, they alleged that no work had been done, and their inquiries were met with vague updates and delays. The lawsuit accused the shop of breach of contract and sought financial restitution, marking one of the first instances where the shop's public reputation was legally challenged. 3 years later, in 2017, a more serious internal issue came to light when former employee Joseph Frontiera was accused of embezzling over $75,000 from the company. Frontiera allegedly used company funds for personal expenses, including a down payment on a Range Rover and airline tickets, and also failed to pay the company's payroll taxes, resulting in an $18,000 penalty from the IRS. Perhaps most damaging was the claim that he used Koker's signature stamp to forge checks, a clear violation of trust and internal protocol. The case not only strained the team emotionally, but also raised questions about oversight and accountability within the shop's operations. Legal action was taken not just against Frontiera, but also against the staffing firm that recommended him, accusing them of failing to disclose prior misconduct. Then, in 2021, Koker himself fell prey to legal troubles since he was charged with a misdemeanor for unlawfully taking away a 2008 Cadillac Escalade from a tow yard. Though he said it was for a friend's good, Koker had himself violated the Nevada law since the vehicle was not released officially. The case even started as a serious felony case of grand larceny auto with a probable time in prison sentence. Koker, however, managed to get a plea deal, $25,000 restitution payment, 3 years of probation, and 80 hours of community service. This incident made headlines and prompted discussions on what can be defined as celebrity responsibility. However, this reduced sentence acknowledged that Koker was just attempting to help and not for any personal gain. These legal dramas, added much more complexity to the picture of life in the back rooms of Count's Customs. While the show usually projects unity, creativity, and smashing success, these nagging little incidents showed the real pressures that come with running an especially high-profile business. Financial miscalculations, staffing misjudgments, and even well-intentioned actions can have disaster-stricken effects in the public eye. But Koker's ability to navigate these roadblocks, not forgetting that he has his own shop to run, continues to perform, and keeps his fan base with him, will speak volumes for his resilience. Instead of blackening his name, such experiences became part of his story, reminding the fans that everyone faces adversity, even those who fly high. What matters is how they deal with their challenges. Danny Koker's health crisis and disappearance. Fans were stunned when Danny Koker suddenly disappeared from Counting Cars, especially considering his central role as the show's heart and driving force. For a decade, viewers had come to expect his commanding presence, contagious enthusiasm, and creative leadership in every episode. So when he stepped away in 2022, speculation ran rampant, ranging from burnout to behind-the-scenes drama. However, the real reason was far more serious. Koker had fallen gravely ill, battling pneumonia and a life-threatening heart infection that sidelined him from both his business and the public eye. The illness struck hard and fast, forcing an immediate halt to his appearances and engagements. Koker's condition was severe enough to spark genuine concern about whether he would recover. He required intensive medical treatment and a long rehabilitation period, which took him completely out of the public spotlight. Those close to him described it as one of the most difficult periods in his life, both physically and emotionally. With no official announcements during this time, fans were left wondering and worrying. The sudden absence also disrupted the show's dynamic, and without Koker at its helm, Counting Cars quietly wound down its regular production. Behind the scenes, the crew and shop continued working, but the absence of the Count was deeply felt. Over time, it dawned upon Koker that there were news stories about him recuperating. However, he took things slowly and cautiously when emerging back to making public appearances, but there emerged an unbelievable recovery in him. He thereafter resumed some activities at Count's Customs, such as relating to fans and other people in the new builds, while running a few leadership roles at the shop. Thereafter, going back on the screen did not form part of his immediate plans. Instead, Koker was keen on getting renewed strength and balance in life, a choice that most people regarded with admiration. His slow return reflected more of a matured viewpoint that was probably born out of his health scare, with the realization that well-being must come first, before business or fame. Koker's experience has cast a stark contrast between the bubbly person's health and the effect of a health crisis on that person. For all individuals, it moved away from television, but it remains unaffected by not choking his legacy or influence. He is rather even more respected by his fans and peers. Since then, he has been vocal on matters of health, family, and purpose, by showing that healing is not waiting on getting back to work, but a matter of redefinition in what counts in that. Counting cars is taking a step back for now, but Koker's spirit and vision continue to blaze full bore at Count's Customs, proving that there is always a road to move forward after life's sharpest turns. After surviving a critical illness that nearly claimed his life, Danny Koker didn't retreat from the public eye. He made a thoughtful, determined return to the worlds that defined him. Back at Count's Customs, he resumed his hands-on role as a builder and creative leader, showing that his passion for restoring cars hadn't faded during his time away. Although he scaled back on media appearances, his presence in the shop remains strong, overseeing high-level projects and ensuring that every build carries the same craftsmanship and flair that originally made the brand famous. His return wasn't just a comeback, it was a reaffirmation of what drives him, both literally and figuratively. With his health stabilized, Koker also re-engaged with his other great love, music. His hard rock band, Count 77, returned to the stage with renewed energy. In 2023, they headlined performances such as Muscle Cars at the Strip at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, proving that Koker hadn't lost his voice or his connection with fans. Backed by skilled musicians like Stoney Curtis and John Zito, the band continues to celebrate the golden era of 1970s rock with original music and electric live shows. These performances aren't just side projects, they're a vital outlet for Koker's creativity and a way for him to express himself outside the garage. As his musical comeback continues, Koker and his spouse Corey have become deeply engaged in operating Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill, a Las Vegas club that blends live shows and the energy of their edgy brand. Corey handles bookings and daily operations, while Koker assists in crafting the musical vibe and upending the bar's reputation as a sanctum for classic rock enthusiasts. Count's Vamped isn't just a business, it's a cultural extension of Koker's two worlds, music and custom cars. The venue is also a community hangout for fans, friends, and fellow musicians, keeping the Koker brand alive and relevant well beyond the boundaries of television. And just when you think the ride has slowed down, Koker shifts into a new gear. Legacy in motion. Danny Koker's influence on car culture extends far beyond the flashy edits of reality TV. Through years of authentic storytelling, innovative builds, and hands-on leadership, he has carved out a legacy that resonates with both hardcore gearheads and casual fans alike. From the moment he appeared on Pawn Stars to the 10-season run of Counting Cars, Koker brought the craft of automotive restoration into mainstream consciousness. More than a personality, he became a symbol of what it means to build something from the ground up, literally and figuratively. His legacy is one of creativity, resilience, and relentless pursuit of passion, making him one of the most recognizable figures in the custom car world. Count's Customs, once a private hobby space, has evolved into a cultural institution. Though Counting Cars has concluded, the garage remains fully operational, producing high-end custom vehicles for collectors, enthusiasts, and everyday drivers who want something unique. Koker's leadership continues to guide the shop's evolution, ensuring that it adapts to modern trends while honoring the old-school values it was founded on. The shop's influence is evident not only in its builds, but also in the next generation of customizers who were inspired by Koker's journey. Through his mentorship, public appearances, and social media presence, Koker continues to shape the future of the craft he helped elevate. The brand has expanded beyond restoration, with enterprises such as Counts Vamped and Counts 77. Koker has ventured into the lifestyle space, blending music, hospitality, and car culture into one cohesive identity. These companies are in addition to his passion for keeping rock and roll and car culture alive in a digitally driven world where trends and fads constantly change. He doesn't want to be a social media influencer. He's a do-it-yourself craftsman, frontman, and entrepreneur who stays firmly grounded in his craft and community. The sincerity behind his brand has made it last and made an impact. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite car shows and personalities. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And hey, before you go, check out the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.